How's it going, folks? 138 MMA here, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC 288 fight card in its entirety, starting with the prelims, going all the way up to the main event of the night. Real quick, though, hey, if this is your first time here, I'm so glad that you found the channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to check this out and click on that video. If you have come here before and you're coming back, hey, I'm glad that you're returning. I do appreciate all of you returning. But for those of you that are brand new to the channel, tune out for like 20 seconds here because this won't make any sense to you. Guys, last week I got murdered, and it's the first time it's ever happened to me. The bookies beat me last week. Pretty good. I've lost before, but it's usually like a unit or whatever, like 1 point whatever units. I got murdered last week, and I think it's because I got just a little bit too cocky. I had a bet on every fight just because, you know what? Hey, I've been picking them right. I've been doing it. I bet I could just have a bet on every fight and have a good time. Well, it doesn't end up going your way when, sure, usually I can cover it with some other fights. Egger dropped the ball. That sucked. Had a few other big ones drop the ball. A lot on Egger. That was a big one. But yeah, just a couple of really bad plays, and last week sucked. So I lost my butt, but that's okay because we're coming back for blood, and we're going to take the bookies for everything that they got. I'm picking my spots a little bit better in my bets this week, as you can probably imagine. I didn't have a bet on every fight last week, just a lot of them, way more than I needed to. And I was way overexposed on Stephanie Egger, which actually is what killed me. But this week, we're coming back. We're looking for blood. Like I said, we're going to take the bookies and we're going to run them into the ground. UFC 288 is going to be our card. I've got some good spots here that I really like. I've got some underdogs, some favorites, all that good stuff, some over-unders. You're going to love it. So let's go ahead and break down these fights. We don't need to waste any more time. Oh, yeah, real quick. 138 MMA. You can find me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Patreon.com/138MMA if you want to check out all my notes and things like that. Yeah, anyway, also, let me know in the comments what kind of stuff do you want to see from me on Patreon. I might be able to do it, I might not. But let me know what you kind of would like to see and what it would take to get you over there. And, you know, I appreciate it. And now, for all of you that have already liked this video, guys, you are the bomb. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's go to the first fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, 138 MMA proudly brings to you the hottest picks in the world!
Redemption run. We're currently kicking off the card with Johnny Munoz Jr. taking on Daniel Santos. Both guys 3-2 in their last 5. There is a slight height and reach advantage on the Munoz side. He's 5'9" with a 71-inch reach as opposed to the 5'7", 67-inch reach of Santos. This is an interesting matchup, and I understand why Santos is the favorite because of his win over John Castaneda, but this matchup is way closer than people think it is. We're going to start with the Johnny Munoz side, and then we're going to bounce over to Santos, and we're going to finish up on the Johnny Munoz side, okay? So we're going to start with the wrestling of Munoz. First off, his wrestling. He's good wrestling. He doesn't use a lot of the, like double legs and things like that. He has them in his repertoire, but he doesn't use them often. He tends to go with the body lock. That's his best takedown most of the time. And he's got some good trips as well. And he can resort to that single leg when need be. And that single leg is actually very, very good. He just doesn't use it as often as some of the others. With his striking, he's decent. He's got a good, couple of straight punches, good kicks that he uses from range. He has a nice rangy front kick and a rangy side kick. Basically, when he's striking, he's all the way out, not in the pocket, because once he gets into the area where he'd be striking in the pocket, he's looking for the takedown. On the other side, Daniel Santos. Dude is a wild man on the feet. He's got powerful striking. He's going to spin a ton, which I don't like. Usually I don't like it when guys spin a lot, but his spinning side kick is very good. I do like that. But usually if you spin a lot, you're just doing stuff that's unnecessary. There's a time and a place to spin, and it shouldn't be in every single fight, but he does. So there you go. But he's got some nice knees, and he's going to be moving forward almost all the time, slamming leg kicks as well. He's going to have the more damaging striking, but he's also there to be hit, and I don't think that's going to be a problem for him in this matchup because Munoz isn't looking to strike at all, let's be honest. When it gets to the mat, which it likely will at some point, we've got Santos with some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he can be held on his back, but he's also active from his back, so it can be good, can be bad for him. The thing that I do like on the Munoz side, though, is his Jiu-Jitsu is... I think he's the better pure jiu-jitsu player than Santos. Now, I could be proven wrong by this, but the dude's very slick with his transitions. He mixes in his ground and pound with his submissions, which is fantastic, and he can snatch up arms out of nowhere. Whether it's the arm bar, looking for the Kimura, whatever he's got to do, he can snatch up your arm out of nowhere. He's just always looking to get a hold of one of those as soon as you try to let one go with a hammer or something like that. But the thing that is, let me use a marker here to highlight this. The thing that gives me pause about saying, oh, Daniel Santos for sure, is right here. The fact that Munoz is a kick catcher. And when he catches your kick, not only is he able to take you to the ground, but he can go right into submissions with it because his jiu-jitsu is very good. This is the one thing that scares me away from betting Santos in this matchup because I could definitely see Munoz catching a kick, getting Santos to the mat, and just that leg's gone. So I'm going to pick Santos. I think he wins this fight more often than not, but I can't bet him with this right there, that kick-catching ability, because the bookies did me dirty last week, and I ain't going to fall for it this time because I could definitely see that happening. Just like we saw what happened with Stephanie Egger. Maybe I'm just getting flashbacks. Maybe I'm paranoid. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of other people are on Santos. On Twitter, I've been seeing it all over the place. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next middleweight. We have Claudio Ribeiro taking on Joseph Holms. For Holmes, he is 3-2 in his last 5, 4-1 on the Ribeiro side. Ribeiro is the shorter fighter. He is 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Holmes is very long and tall. He's 6'4" with an 80-inch reach. And at 185 pounds, that is wild. Let's start with the Ribeiro side. He has good forward pressure. He's going to come forward with his boxing. He's going to throw some decent combinations, but it's the power. The power. He's got 10 KOs. Look how many wins this guy has. It's 10. That means he's knocked everybody out that he's beat. Pretty impressive. He's also got good footwork, and he's going to slam leg kicks while he's moving. So footwork, leg kicks, boxing combinations, and a stupid amount of power. But his striking defense is kind of like, eh. So that's a problem when you're going up against a guy like Joseph Holmes, who decent striking, and he's got a little bit of zip to his punches, but he's got long limbs. The dude's got an 80-inch reach, and he's also kind of tall. So he can snap that long jab out there, piece up a guy like Ribeiro if he can stay on the outside. But that's just the thing. It's if. Because that forward pressure of Ribeiro is going to be, walking a guy like Holmes down. Is Holmes going to be able to circle off, keep his range, work his jab? Or does Ribeiro get in close and lay in a bomb? Or we end up with a grappling match? Because Joseph Holmes, I think he's better on the ground than he is on the feet. He's got good jiu-jitsu, but he just doesn't really have the takedowns to get it there most of the time. He's got to, land some shots, get a guy to the ground, and then we'll start working his jiu-jitsu. But he's got good top control, and he's got them choking arms. He's got 80-inch reach, and he's 6'4" at 185 pounds. What does that mean? Choking arms. That's what that means. He can slip them suckers right under the chin and lock something up. He is good in the jiu-jitsu department. On the other side, for Ribeiro, he's got decent takedown defense. And I think it'll be enough to make it so Holmes can't really get the takedown, especially because he's going to be worried about getting clocked by a big old shot. But if he does get taken down, Ribeiro's going to work himself back up to his feet. Or he's going to try to. The problem is he doesn't have a ton of grappling skill outside of just trying to get back up. Because if he doesn't, he's probably in a bad spot. So for me, this one comes down to a couple of things. One, do I think Joseph Holmes can get this to the mat? No, I don't. Two, do I think Joseph Holmes can knock out Ribeiro? Maybe. He was knocked out in his last knocked out. Yeah, it was knocked out in his last one, right? So he's knocked out in his last matchup. Anyway, so then lastly, do I think that Joseph Holmes can just outpoint Ribeiro and stay on the outside? Maybe. But what do I think the most likely thing is? I think Ribeiro is going to come forward. I think he's going to throw good boxing combinations. And at some point during these 3 rounds, I think he's going to land a big bomb and put Joseph Holmes out. So the pick's Ribeiro. I feel like it's a pretty safe pick. But then again, I thought he was going to win last time, and he didn't. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you. One of the most exciting divisions in the UFC is the men's flyweight division. We have Zhalgas Zhumagulov taking on Rafael Estevam. For Estevam, he's undefeated, 11-0, so 5-0 in the last 5, obviously. For Zhumagulov, a rough run. He's only won once in the UFC. He is 1-4 in his last 5. He's going to be the smaller fighter here. He's 5'4" with a 66.5-inch reach, 5'8", 69-inch reach for Estevam. Now, this is an interesting matchup. We don't have as much to go on for Estevam because just cage time, realistically. Cage time and then kind of the way he's fought so far. For Zhumagulov, he's been in there a lot of decisions, and that's just not usually going his way. But let's start with Zhumagulov here. The dude's got decent striking. The volume is where it's at. He's got decent power when he strikes too, but his striking defense leaves a little bit to be desired because he is getting hit just about, as often as he's hitting his opponents, which isn't a good look. But he's got good wrestling, decent takedowns, but the volume more than makes up for any lack of technique. He does have good technique, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I wouldn't put him up there as one of the highest level wrestlers in the division as far as takedown skill. but he definitely has the volume and the takedowns. He can get guys up against the fence and just hold them there and work that cage push, which he's absolutely fantastic at. The problem is he should be winning minutes there, but for whatever reason, the judges don't see it. Takedown defense, he's got good takedown defense. He's durable, but he makes every fight way too close. For Estevam, he's a very powerful striker, and I like his kicks a lot, especially the body kick. He does it very well. That is going to be something that could play a big factor in this matchup here if he can land some of those body kicks, hurt a guy like Zhumagulov, and then go in there with one of them big slams because he's a good wrestler, and he likes to pick guys up and slam them hard. He also has some pretty good trips from when he gets in close, like you drag guys to the mat with a body lock, hit that trip, get on top, and start ground and pounding their face into the dirt, or I guess the canvas in this instance. But he's got good jiu-jitsu as well. He likes to take the back and control from there. Look for the submission, but, control first in this instance. I think the obvious pick has to be Estevam, but I do think Zhumagulov is a live underdog in this matchup. I just got tongue-tied there, but hey, you can't blame me. Look at that name. That's a long name. So anyway, Zhumagulov has a shot here, but I just don't think that if it goes to the decision, the judges are going to give it to him. There's just no way. They just don't do it. I don't know what it is. I don't know who he made mad in the athletic commission of whatever state they're in, but somebody don't like the guy. I think Estevam's going to get it done. He's got a size advantage. I think he has the more flashy style, and I think it's going to look better to the judges. So Estevam's the pick. I don't know if we get a decision. I don't know if we get a finish. The last thing that bothers me, Zhumagulov talking about retiring after his last matchup. As soon as somebody mentions retirement, just start fading him, because usually that's it. So Estevam's the pick. Let me know what you got. And this is a fun one. We've got the debut of Ikram Aliskerov taking on Phil Hawes. That is a tough debut fight because Phil Hawes, I believe he's 4-2 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5. I know that. 5-0 in the last 5 for Aliskerov. In this matchup, though, both guys are predominantly wrestlers, but with different styles of wrestling. Let's start with the Aliskerov side. The dude's got strong wrestling. What he's going to do is he's going to come forward, he's going to look for that takedown, he's going to look to be heavy on top, he's going to relentlessly try to get you to the mat with that forward pressure, and when he does get on top, he's going to look for ground and pound. Just caught that bug out of the air, I don't know if you guys saw that. He's got ground and pound, and when he gets to the mat, he actually has a nice kimura, whether he's on top or from the bottom, he can start looking for that. 3 of his last, 4 wins are kimuras, which is super cool. Typically he's getting them from on top, though. That's what he's looking at, but for Aliskerov, the dude is just relentless, and he's just going to put a pace on a guy working for those takedowns and try to break him with that. That's the style he's looking at, okay? Now, when it comes to his striking, it's all right. He's got decent, punches or whatever, but his kicks and his knees I do like better. And he's going up against a guy in Phil Hawes, though, who also has decent striking. I would say his decent is better than Ikram's decent, but for Phil Hawes, got good combinations, a lot of power, and a lot of that comes from him just being so freaking strong and athletic. Same with some of his wrestling skills. So, yes, he has the skill there, but he also is able to do things because he's so physically strong and athletic. The dude has a very high-level wrestling background. I believe he wrestled in a Division I college, winning a championship at some point. He is very control-oriented when he gets on top. He's got a good blast double, and that often comes as he gets you looking high and then, boom, hits that blast double, runs you over. He's got good ground and pound when he gets on top, and his takedown defense is going to be tested here because he's got 100% takedown defense in the UFC thus far. The big red flags on the Hawes side, we all know about the chin. We all worry about his cardio, but he's also coming off of a leg injury. So how's he going to look coming back from that? I believe it was Delidze that tore up that leg pretty damn good. So this matchup here is, I think Hawes is going to look really good in that first round. But I think Aliskerov is going to weather the storm, and I think he's going to beat him. I think he's going to break Phil Hawes with the cardio. I think he's going to break him with the pressure. And I think he's just going to put it on him because Aliskerov is a pretty dang good prospect. Now, I'm not mega confident in it because Phil Hawes could catch him with a big shot and put him out because in Aliskerov's only loss, he was knocked out. What do you know? It could be knocked out. It happens. Guys get knocked out sometimes. So I'm going to take Aliskerov, but there is the knockout upside for Hawes. I think over the course of 3 rounds, though, I don't think Hawes is going to be able to keep up with the pace of Aliskerov, so that's my pick. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next fight. We've got a heavyweight matchup between Parker Porter and Braxton Smith. Braxton Smith, only 6 fights in his career, but he's 5-0 in his last 5. Long layoff after his first loss way back in the day. Parker Porter coming off a knockout loss to Justin Tafa, where I made a bad call there, but he is 3-2 in his last 5. I've also made a lot of good calls on Parker Porter. Dude's cashed for us as a dog many times. If you've been around the channel for a while, he is a good dog player. But in this matchup here, we've got him fighting another big heavy bruiser, which is what was the downfall for him last time. So let's see how these two shake out. Let's start with the Porter side because we've got a little bit more to go off of here. So he's got decent striking. It's basically the volume. He's got good leg kicks. He can throw in combination, but he's going to leave his chin kind of exposed when he does it, and that's what cost him in the Tafa fight. But he's got good footwork typically, and his jab is very nice. I do like his jab a lot. As long as he doesn't just overcommit and start going in with these combinations, thinking he's going to volume Braxton Smith up against the cage and let his chin get out there. As long as he doesn't do that, he might be okay to stay on the outside, work the jab, and just keep moving and wear out a Braxton Smith with that volume and footwork. But who knows? Because, like I said, he's going to leave his chin exposed when he comes in with his combinations. He'll come in like this and start winging shots. And you see when my hand, I don't know if you can see it, and my hand should be here after I punch, right? My shoulders come up if I'm worried about the guy counter-striking me. If I'm not worried about it, I ain't worried about it. But if I'm worried about it, I should be able to throw my punch, keep my chin tucked in the shoulder, come back with the next one, have my hand here, right? That's what I should do. Parker Porter, he'll throw, and yeah, it's a middle of a fight. It's hard to remember this, but he's going to start letting his hands start coming back down by his chest. It's not what you want. In the gym, I always tell people, hey, we're not protecting our titties out there. Let's get them up by the chin, huh? So, got to cover your chin, cover the cheeks, thumbs the cheeks. It's a good way, but he's not going to do that. What he's going to do instead is he's going to start throwing combos, and unless he learned after getting knocked out. So, who knows on that one, but that's what we got. In the wrestling and the grappling department, we don't know much about Smith, but we do know that Parker Porter's a pretty good wrestler. He does very well when he's holding guys up against the cage and just kind of grinding on them, wearing on them, beating on him a little bit. And if he gets the fight to the mat, he's got good top control. He can work for submissions, yeah. He can also just kind of grind guys out, land some shots, get it done that way. And he's tough as nails. Anybody's getting knocked out by Justin Tafa if they connect flush. Wasn't it Justin Tafa that knocked out whatever that dude was, even while he blocked the kick? Tafa hits hard, so you can't blame Porter for that one. So, anyway, for the Braxton Smith side, the dude's got good striking, but not polished. He's just got insane amounts of power, and he's going to load up on every shot and probably overcommit to every shot. But it works pretty well for him because his hands are fast, and he's also got a pretty nice head kick. For a big old heavyweight, you don't expect to see that head kick. He's got one. He's also got good takedown defense from what we've seen so far. We don't know much about his cardio. It could be good, but I wouldn't bank on it being that good. So I'm going to say Parker Porter's probably the smarter pick because he's the better fighter. But Braxton Smith has a lot of finishing upside. And coming off of a matchup like Porter just did with Tafa, I think that's going to be in his head a little bit. I think it's going to make him a little bit gun-shy. I think it's going to slow him down just a little bit, make him think about things. And I actually think Braxton Smith's going to be able to land on him because he's going to have Parker Porter thinking about that stuff. Now, I'm a big Parker Porter fan. I enjoy the guy. I like watching. He's funny in the interviews. I want him to win. But I'm going to take Braxton Smith here. I think he's going to land a big shot, put Porter down. I think he's just going to be off a step after having that in his mind about what happened to him last time when Tafa got him. So the pick's Braxton Smith. Just leave this one off your cards, guys. We don't need to be betting these heavyweight fights here, especially not with one making his debut. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next matchup I'm really torn on. We have Virna Jandiroba taking on Marina Rodriguez. Wow, I got tongue-tied there too. I'm all off tonight, guys. Bear with me. Anyway, for Jandiroba, she's going to want to get this fight to the mat. And for Rodriguez, she's going to want to keep this fight on the feet. Both ladies skilled. Both ladies coming in with winning records. 3-2 in the last 5 for Jandiroba. 4-1 for Rodriguez. Jandiroba, 5'3", 64-inch reach. We got a 5'6", 65-inch reach on the Rodriguez side, which the only reason this is important is because Rodriguez is going to want to keep this on the outside, striking at range. That's why that's important. She's a very solid striker with volume, countering ability. She has the ability to throw combinations with good hand speed and move while she's doing so. This is important because over here for Jandiroba, the threat of the takedown is basically what sets up her striking because her striking is not very polished and she has bad striking defense. But the threat of the takedown, because you know that her grappling is gosh darn good. The girl's only lost 3 times in her career also. Interesting to think about because you're going up against another gal who's only lost twice in her career. But both of these ladies, very high level strawweights. But the forward pressure, eating shots with her face, but the threat of the takedown is going to set up those hands a little bit. I would say the striking advantage is clear on the Rodriguez side. We know that. But she can be held down. Sure, she can typically defend the submission from her back, but she can be held down, and that's a problem because if she gets taken down by Jandiroba's got good top control, first off, but she seeks the submission because if you don't know, out of her 18 wins, 13 of them are by submission. Jandiroba is a dangerous submission threat, and I think if she does win, it's going to be by submission because I think on the feet, Rodriguez is going to be doing some nasty things to poor Jandiroba. So, how do I see this going? I think you either have to pass or play both sides. I'm going to tell you that I don't make my pick for the sake of a pick. If you're going to play both sides, I think the obvious pick on the Jandiroba side, you're going to have to play the submission prop. And I think on the Rodriguez side, you're going to have to play the decision prop. Because you should be able to get both of them at plus money. I don't know for sure, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure you can get both at plus money. And if you do, guess what? That means you win. Just regardless, you win. Because I think if Jandiroba wins, it's almost certainly going to be submission unless she can just get those takedowns consistently. But I don't see that because Rodriguez is going to be able to keep this fight on the outside for a lot of it, movement and strikes. But if Jandiroba does get it to the mat once, there's a real possibility that she gets that finish because she's very good at that. So that's how I would play it. For the sake of the pick, I think it's going to end up in a decision. I think Rodriguez is going to edge it out, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be a very close fight. And I do think at some point, Jandiroba is going to get the fight to the mat, but I don't know that she's going to end up having time to get the submission. I think we're going to have a close call. They end up back on the feet in the next round, and there you go. So that's where I'm at. I'm leaning Rodriguez, but I'm kind of rooting for Jandiroba, to be honest, because any girl that looks like Rob Schneider deserves to win some things, all right? So I'm rooting for Jandiroba, and I'm taking Rodriguez just because I think she probably wins, and I need to help my pick percentage after just getting mauled last week. But let's get to the next fight. Let me know what you guys for this one. We have Rolando Bedoya taking on Khaos Williams. Now, for Bedoya, this is UFC debut. He's 5-0 in his last 5. Very impressive overall record of 14-1, as you see up on the board here. 3-2 in the last 5 for Khaos Williams. Coming off that loss to Randy Brown, I do believe was his last matchup. This is going to be an interesting fight because both guys probably want to strike in this matchup. We have Bedoya, who's going to come forward with very good forward pressure. He's going to go with his strikes. He's got kicks to all levels, combinations. But the problem is he loves a brawl, and his striking defense doesn't really add up to that. Thankfully, he's durable, and he's got the takedown defense, so you don't have to worry about it going to the mat. But this, right here, I'm going to go like this, okay? Loves a brawl, striking defense, okay? Now, we're going to look at the other side. We have Khaos Williams. The dude has fight-ending power. This dude has stupid amounts of power because when he hits you, you're gone. That's it. It's over. You might be done forever. Who knows? He's most of the time got pretty good volume, but sometimes he gets just kind of stuck. I don't know if he like short circuits or what, but he just kind of gets stuck. But most of the time he's got pretty good volume. Leg kicks are heavy, but he can also be drawn into a brawl. And one thing that if I'm Bedoya, the one person I don't want to get drawn into a brawl with is somebody that has fight-ending power in the same way that Khaos Williams does. Because that's a serious, serious problem. Because this dude can put anybody out. Now, he does have decent wrestling. He's got the takedown defense. So if Bedoya does get desperate and start shooting for takedowns, Khaos Williams got pretty good takedown defense on that. He's shown some takedowns on the regional scene as well. If he wants to say, you know what, this brawl's getting too wild. I need to get a takedown myself. Because once he gets on top, that ground and pound is just dastardly. He's coming down with big shots, and he's got volume with that ground and pound, and it's heavy. You thought his punches on the feet are heavy? When your head's bouncing off the mat after he hits you, that's just as heavy, if not worse. So I think this matchup is just going to be too big of a step up on the debut for Bedoya. I'm going Khaos Williams. I don't think that's crazy to say. Bedoya might shock us all. Who knows? But I think Khaos Williams is probably going to put him to sleep because that striking defense is lax, and you're going up against a guy with fight-ending power. That's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys have. If you have Bedoya, please let me know in the comments because I haven't found anybody yet. Nobody on Twitter's talking about it. None of my buddies are talking about it. Nothing. So let me know what you got. Moving right along. And hey, if you haven't done so yet and you're still enjoying this video, go ahead and hit like for me. I appreciate it very much. And it doesn't cost you anything, but it does help me out. So anyway, we have Devin Clark taking on Kendi Nzechukwu. Is that how you say that maybe? 3-2 on the Nzechukwu side and 4-0 For Devin Clark, he's 2-3. That's a hard one to pronounce, guys. Bear with me. Nzechukwu is the taller fighter. He's 6'5" with an 83-inch reach. So the guy's a giant. He's taking on the 6' tall with a 75-inch reach Devin Clark, who's also a pretty big dude, but nowhere near that size. Okay, in this one here, it's interesting because Devin Clark has a lot of paths to victory, but there's a lot you can't trust about him. He's going up against a guy in Kennedy Nzechukwu who, like, kind of has one major path to victory here, but, like, he's kind of steadier, I guess. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with the Nzechukwu side. He's got good striking, power for sure. The volume is not usually there. A lot of times he's standing and staring at you, waiting for you to come do something. But he's got knees up the middle that you see. This is common amongst really tall fighters for their division. That knee up the middle. Why is that? Well, first off, they don't have to lift their leg very high to hit their opponent because their opponent's shorter. Second of all, knees up the middle are great for stopping takedowns because those guys that want to shoot takedowns, whoa, those tall guys are usually easy to get a hold of their legs. How do they scare you away? Knees up the middle. And Nzechukwu does have good takedown defense anyway, so there's that. He's going up against Devin Clark, though, who's a very good wrestler. He does have solid ground and pound and control if he can get the fight to the mat. A lot of times he's going to end up against the cage, though, and try to control guys there. He does have powerful striking in his own right. A good leg kick, which if he's smart, he's going to start getting to that early, mixing in the 1-2s, because that's about all he does. But his volume's usually just not good enough, and he doesn't have a very good striking defense, and that's a problem because Nzechukwu hits really hard. His chin's questionable, and he's super inconsistent as a fighter. You never know which Devin Clark you're going to get. So because of that, I've got to go with Nzechukwu. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. Fun lightweight matchup here. We've got Matt Frevola taking on Drew Dober. Both guys are 3-2 in their last 5 fights, but both of them on tidy little win streaks right now. For Drew Dober, we know that he's got the toughest chin in all of MMA. You can't knock this guy out. You can hit him with a cinder block, and he's going to keep going right through it. But both of these guys are going to come forward with their forward pressure, and it's going to be a car crash. Because what we're going to get here, we're going to get the boxing combinations and the power out of Matt Frevola, and we're going to get the Muay Thai style power and volume out of Drew Dober, where he's just going to be blocking shots with his face and slamming punches and kicks down at you. So this is going to be an interesting one because Dober's got insane cardio. Believe it or not, this dude could just go for days. Maybe you probably believe it. You've seen his fights. But he also can just absorb shots like it's nobody's business. He's going to come forward and start slamming shots, like I said. On the other side, there is the wild card of the wrestling of Frevola. He's got good takedowns. Drew Dober may not seem like he's got great takedown defense, but it's not that bad. It's just some of the wrestlers that he's faced are pretty darn high level, and they've been able to take him down and mess up his stats. So, he, got all right takedown defense. The thing is Frevola going to be able to get those takedowns, or is Drew Dober going to be able to put him on the back foot? Who's going to put who on their back foot is basically who's going to win this matchup. And for me, I bet on Drew Dober any day when it comes to that. So I like Drew Dober in this matchup. I'm also kind of biased. I just like Drew Dober as a fighter. If you saw my list of my top 5 favorites, he's number 2 behind Juicy J, who got kind of screwed over by Chris Tognoni in his last one. But, whatever. Tognoni doesn't know how to be a ref. It's fine. Either way, Drew Dober, we don't have to worry about that because he's not going to wobble. Even if they got Tognoni in there, dude's just going to say, man, he doesn't even look like he's phased. He's just going to walk through whatever Frevola hits him with, and he's just going to walk him down and slam on him. Now, I know a lot of people are on the Frevola side this week, but there was a lot of people on the Bobby Green side over Drew Dober. And what did Drew Dober do? Walked in there, ate a bunch of shots, backed him up against the cage, and put him out and tied the record for most knockouts. Give me Drew Dober, give me him by knockout, and let's go to the next fight. Oh, yeah, and let me know what you guys think. Featherweight matchup here. We have the return of Kron Gracie taking on Charles Jourdain. Real quick, guys, I want you guys to know this. So, I don't know if you are familiar with how the YouTube thing works. When a content creator, such as myself, gets to 1,000 subscribers and has over 4,000 hours of watch time, they are then able to start getting ad revenue. What does that mean? I get like a penny every time one of those stupid ads plays on one of my videos. Now, they're going to play regardless of whether or not I'm at 1,000 or not, because you're going to see ads. This is what happens at YouTube, but they keep all of it when it's like it is now, because I'm just shy of 1,000. Got like 50 some odd left to go. If you guys can get me to 1,000, I appreciate it very much. If you've just been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed and you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know, why do I want to subscribe? I don't care that it's in my subscription tab. It means a lot to me because I want that 1 penny whenever that YouTube ad plays that right now YouTube's just keeping. So help me out. Help me get to 1,000. I hate to have to nag you guys, but I got to get there so I can start getting those pennies. Get me some of that, the little bit of ad revenue. It's not much. I'm not going to make $1 million off it. I just want the like $20 I might get a month. So if you could do me that favor, hit subscribe for me. It means way more than you know. I would appreciate the heck out of you guys. If we can get over 1,000 subscribers here by the end of May, it would be great. But yeah, if we could just do that, I'd appreciate it very much. And while you're down there, why don't you hit like, because that helps a lot so more people find this video, and then send it to one of your friends that might be wanting to watch the fights with you, might be, you know, a coworker, whatever. Send this video out. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. A lot of you have already subscribed. Thank you guys so much. Now, back to the fight. I appreciate that. So, Charles Jourdain taking on Kron Gracie. For Jourdain, he is 2-3 in his last 5, 4-1 for Gracie. That one is his only loss, I believe it was to Cub Swanson, and then he just took a really long layoff, about 4 years actually. This matchup here is super interesting to me. Let's go ahead and start with Gracie. Very high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. High level doesn't do it justice. This is like just max level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skill, especially at the weight class. The dude is always seeking the submission because, well, all of his wins are by submission. The one thing that I typically don't like about people, and I put it as a negative because I don't like when guys jump guard in MMA, I think it might be okay here. I think Kron Gracie's probably fine if he jumps guard, because I don't think Jourdain is going to want to be on top, even if he's throwing ground and pound. He's going to be worried that he's going to get an arm snatched up, triangle snatched up, flipped over, put into a pretzel, whatever he's going to do. So, yeah, I put it as a negative because I just generally hate it when guys jump guard. It's usually a bad idea in MMA. When you have the jiu-jitsu level of Kron Gracie, you might be all right. So he is absolutely deadly from his back, as I've mentioned up there. So I'm going to give him a pass on the jumping guard thing, but I still put it as a negative because I hate it. So, also, sucks at striking, sucks at takedowns. At least he had so far. He needs to get this fight to the mat. It's kind of just by latching on and, you know, like he's I don't know, like he's a flea, just jumping on you and grabbing a hold. I don't know, but he's going to bring you to the mat somehow. Whether it's jumping guard, gets a takedown. Usually it's going to be like a trip, honestly, if he's going to go for a takedown. His striking is just not good, and his takedowns haven't been good. But he's been away for 4 years, so who knows? Maybe he's going to be a little better. On the other side, we have Jourdain, who, good striking. He's got volume, movement, boxing combinations, and he's got a little zip on his punches. Not like one-shot power, but he's got a little zip to him. The kicks, though, I do like those as well. It can kick to all levels, and the one I like the most is that front kick right to the chest, because that'll mess anybody up. And I tell you what, if you're coming forward trying to get a hold of somebody and jump guard, and you get a front kick right to your sternum, you're not going to be able to breathe very well, and it's sure going to get you back at range. So I do like that front kick. If it gets caught, though, he's in serious trouble. His takedown defense is not that great, and that's a problem. I mean, sure, Gracie hasn't shown very good takedowns, but if you're going to get a takedown, a guy like Jourdain, who doesn't really stop takedowns very well, that's a problem for him. He does a decent grappling in his own right, and it's his front chokes, his guillotines in particular, they're his best bet. He does have them choking arms. I should have wrote that up there. Choking arms, right? But I didn't. I didn't write it up there. I dropped the ball. But either way, I don't think grappling's his best path to victory here, guys. Let's be honest. I don't think anybody does. So he's going to want to keep this in the striking department. The biggest red flag that I have about Charles Jourdain in all of his fights, he cares too much about having a fun fight and not enough about winning the darn fight. He wants to have fun fights. He's basically said that exact same thing in interviews. That he cares more about having a fun fight than actually winning the stinking fight. I can't pick him to win this fight. I got to take Gracie because at some point he's probably going to hit the mat and he's going to submit Charles Jourdain. I think that's what happens. And if this wasn't here, and if he's like, I need to win, I'm going to win at all costs, if that's what he was saying, I might be a little bit more likely to pick Jourdain to, like, stay on the outside, hit him and just friggin' book it, run away, come back, hit him again. I mean, obviously he's not going to run away, but you know what I mean. Just staying on the outside like his life depends on it. But instead, he's probably going to get excited and go in there and want to fight, and Gracie's going to get him in on the ground somehow, or just like a flying triangle or something like that. I don't know. Gracie's the pick. Let me know what you got. Guys, as a fan, I love this fight. But as a person who is standing in front of a camera about to make a pick, I hate this fight. Because at the featherweight division, we have Bryce Mitchell taking on Movsar Evloev. So both guys have very impressive records. 16-0, 15-1. 4-1 in the last fight for Mitchell. We know he's coming off of that fight with Ilia Topuria. We're going to cover more of that in a minute. 5-0 for Evloev. Now, both of these guys are predominantly grapplers, so I think it's safe to say at some point this fight's going to hit the mat. So there you go. That's the safest bet. This fight will eventually take place in the grappling exchange, in some form of a grappling exchange, if you can bet it. I don't know. Either way, so in this one here, we got Bryce Mitchell. The dude's a solid wrestler with the chain wrestling ability, but his grappling skills are best once it's already on the mat. The dude is solid in the grappling. His transitions are fantastic, and he can often do so off of a scramble because he has very good scrambling abilities. He can also chain submission attempts together because he has a massive toolbox from which he can draw from. He's also a good back taker, and once he gets on your back, he can control you from there pretty well. On the other side, we're going to cover the striking in a minute. On the other side, we have Evloev. He's an excellent wrestler. The dude's relentless, and he's going to chain wrestle this fight just to the mat at some point, and that's going to be okay because that's where both guys kind of want it. He's going to work to reverse position or advanced position regardless of where he ends up. If he's on the bottom, he's working to reverse. If he's on top, he's working to advanced position. He wants to get into mount, and he wants to throw that heavy ground and pound because that's what he does. He's not often looking for submissions. Has the option to do so, sure, but a lot of times he's looking to pound your face into the canvas. So that's what he's going to do. But he's got good takedown defense of his own, so he doesn't really have to worry too much about Bryce Mitchell getting the takedown. Maybe he will, but I think the takedowns are going to come from the Evloev side. But Bryce Mitchell on the ground, he can work from the bottom because, like I said, he creates scrambles very well. So, interesting matchup there. On the feet, pretty close. I mean, there's good pressure out of Bryce Mitchell because he's going to come through with those kicks. His kicks are his best weapon on the feet. On the other side, Evloev's kind of content to just kind of stand there and look for an accurate shot. He's looking for his straight shots. They're clean, looking for accurate shots. He's not looking to walk you down and throw a bunch of big bombs or nothing. If he's coming forward, it's usually because he's looking for that takedown and throwing like a 1-2 maybe. Nothing big. Usually a lot of single shots, maybe a 1-2. And this is a somewhat short notice fight for him. I think it's like a couple 2-3 weeks ago or something. So not mega short, but might be noted. I just can't do it, guys. I can't pick Evloev because I want to pick Bryce Mitchell. Because, gosh darn it, I want to hear his crazy post-fight interview and whatever kind of wild stuff he's going to say. Whether you like Bryce Mitchell or not, if you can just set aside all the stuff he's saying and not take it seriously and instead just say, you know what? This dude's kind of funny, and his post-fight interviews are just always hilarious no matter what. So even if he's being dead serious, I laugh because it's funny, and it's okay to have fun and laugh. Either way, I'm going to take Bryce Mitchell. I know that people are going to just crap all over me in the comments because I took Bryce Mitchell against Topuria, and Topuria beat the brakes off him. And his last fight, he looked terrible. Ilia Topuria beat him so bad, and he did not handle that loss very well at all. I'm going to give him one more shot. I'm not going to bet this fight. Please, just, if you're going to bet this fight, don't take what I've said. You can look at the notes, and sure, these are accurate, but what I'm saying to you, don't worry about that. Look at the notes, make your own decision. Don't bet it because I'm picking Bryce Mitchell. His last fight, he handled that loss very poorly, but I'm taking Bryce because I just can't not pick him in this matchup, and I think he's the better grappler, and I think that this fight is going to end up on the mat. I think the reason he struggled so much against Topuria on the mat is because he got bludgeoned on the feet first, and that's not going to happen in this matchup because Evloev is not going to bludgeon him on the feet, and I think Bryce Mitchell is going to be better once he gets to the mat no matter who takes it there. So give me Bryce Mitchell. I'm not going to bet it. I'm just going to watch this fight and hope for the best. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next fight. Oh, yeah. And the little clown emojis, let them fly. I'll see you in the next fight. Strawweight, we have Yan Xiaonan taking on Jessica Andrade. Both ladies 3-2 in their last 5. As usual with an Andrade fight, she's the shorter fighter. 5'1", 62-inch reach. 5'5", 63-inch reach for Xiaonan. Now, interesting matchup here because a lot of people are down on Jessica Andrade right now because, well, she lost to Erin Blanchfield. Now, you know what? Time to give myself some credit here because I've been down on myself in this video. I've been saying my bad picks from last week, whatever. I was all over Erin Blanchfield beating Jessica Andrade when a lot of people weren't because she was the underdog. And guess what? Erin Blanchfield is just the champion waiting to be crowned. As soon as they give her the title fight, doesn't matter who it is, she's winning that gosh darn title. And that was also up at 125 pounds. So, for Jessica Andrade, I know a lot of people are down on her, but she lost to who should be the champion as soon as they just give her the fight at 125 pounds. Not a lot of shame in that. So, for Jessica Andrade, I think she has a chance to come back against somebody that's going to be willing to stand and trade some shots with her and probably won't be able to pick her apart like Erin Blanchfield was doing with those counter strikes. Because, yeah, she's open to be countered. I'm going to point that out now. I pointed it out in the last fight, and that's how Erin Blanchfield was able to start hurting her on the feet before getting her to the mat. Now, anyway, in this matchup, we got a fast starter in Jessica Andrade. She's going to come forward with that nasty power. She's going to be able to keep that power as the fight goes late. She's going to be able to use her volume and her forward pressure to kind of break the will of her opponent as she's just trying to pound their face in. Now, she's open to be countered, like I said. And that's tough because Yan Xiaonan is actually a good counter striker. She likes to pick her shots. She's got good volume, good movement on the feet, but most importantly, she strikes in combination, and she can strike with those combos off of the wild miss from Jessica Andrade. Now, for Yan Xiaonan, good takedown defense. Her cardio is good, but the problem is if she does get taken down, she could be held down and lose a round that way. On the other side, Andrade is a slammer. It doesn't matter how good your takedown defense is. If you're picked up in the air, what are you going to do about it? You're just going to get slammed down. So slammer, when she gets on top, she's got good ground and pound, just bringing those heavy shots down. And decent Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's not like she's lost on the mat with the jiu-jitsu style of grappling. I mean, she's Brazilian after all. So there is that. In this matchup here, it is a close one, honestly. And I think that Yan Xiaonan is going to have some success in moments. But I do think that Jessica Andrade is going to land the better shots. And I think she's going to be able to drop Yan Xiaonan at some point in this matchup. Now, I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think Xiaonan is going to be able to bounce back, get back to her feet. But I do think that some of the more damaging shots are going to come from the Andrade side. I think as the fight drags on, I think Andrade is going to be able to turn it up a little bit more. Because even though she's a fast starter, she also can carry that through when she's landing those big shots later into a fight, hurting her opponent, making the opponent second-guess themselves. So I'm going to take Jessica Andrade here. I think she's going to bounce back after that loss to Blanchfield because there's no shame in that. Blanchfield's the champ, all right? She's going to be the champ. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next fight. Made it to the co-main event. Gilbert Burns taking on Belal Muhammad. And this fight was not on the card all that long ago. It's been added recently after we lost our original co-main event of Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. So this one here, we've got Burns 3-2 in the last 5. You might be thinking, man, I thought he was on a big win streak. Well, he's got those 2 losses. He's got Chimaev in there, and he's got the Usman loss still in that last 5. He's trying to get rid of those, push them out, and replace them with some wins, like he's got coming up here against Belal Muhammad, potentially, the one he just got over Jorge Masvidal. And if you see I got a crap load of notes for Burns, it's because I did that deep dive on Masvidal Burns, and I just couldn't leave all of it off. I took a couple of things off that I didn't think applied whatsoever to this fight, but I mean, now we just forever get a crap load of notes for Burns. I'll try to breeze through some of them, so don't worry. But either way, on Belal Muhammad's side, the one no contest in his last 5 is that one blemish, and that was the no contest to Leon Edwards, where he got poked in the eye. And everybody said, oh, yeah, whatever. Leon was winning that, so forget it. We don't need a rematch. We don't need to do it again. I mean, it was early in the fight, though, so who knows? Belal's usually pretty darn good with his cardio, so he can usually turn it on late. I don't know. I hate that they just said, yeah, whatever. Leon gets the win either way, basically, just unofficially. I hated that, but either way. This matchup here, I'm going to start off by saying this. Now, we've already probably cracked open a couple of root beers by this time in the night because, there was a few others that were good, just hard passes on the betting line. We just want to watch the fight and enjoy. Guys, we cracking open some root beers here for sure because this fight could totally go either way. This is such a close fight. Now, would I be surprised if either guy gets the finish? Well, I'd be really surprised if Belal gets a finish, let's be honest. He's probably going for the decision here. He's not going to do to Gilbert Burns what he did to Sean Brady. I won't be surprised if Burns gets the finish, and I won't be surprised if Belal Muhammad just puts a working pace on Gilbert Burns and is able to win out 5 rounds that way. So, for me, this is definitely a fight where I'm going to kick my feet up on the coffee table. I'm going to crack open a nice ice-cold root beer. Root beer on ice is one of the most satisfying things in the world. And I'm just going to sit there and watch this fight. And I'm going to enjoy it because, gosh darn it, I'm not going to bet this one. I can't do it. I just am not confident in this fight. But I'm going to break it down so you degenerates can do so. We've got Gilbert Burns. He's got good striking. He's the better striker of the two, duh. He's got good striking. The block and return. I talked about this in his last, when I broke down the Masvidal fight. You might want to go back and check out that video if you're interested. It's on the channel. You can find it. Blocks the punches and just swings back with a heavy shot. If he connects to Muhammad with one of those, Muhammad's going to probably hit the canvas like a sack of potatoes. But he's going to sling back with power when he blocks, returns. But these are big looping shots. And for Belal Muhammad, he's been working his boxing. Now, it's nowhere near the level of a guy like Gilbert Burns. It might be more technical or pretty, I guess, but it doesn't have the power and he doesn't have the raw ability that Burns has. Because Burns is going to come forward with that forward pressure. He's going to slam leg kicks, slam body kicks. He's going to eat leg kicks because he just eats them. But he comes back with his hands once he gets close enough after eating a few leg kicks, and he can start countering with that boxing combinations. Something that I do like about Burns is he'll feint his takedown. Not necessarily to go for the takedown, but to land either a body shot or come over the top and land a big overhand. He'll do that, and that's kind of a good way for him to mix those in and maybe close that gap that he has. Now, I don't think Belal Muhammad's worried about getting taken down because this guy has stellar takedown defense. You're not taking him down. So for Belal Muhammad, I don't think that feint to the takedown is going to really work for too long. Maybe the first time because he's going to think, oh, I need to react to this, and then he's going to realize what's coming. And I don't think Burns is dumb enough to think he's just going to be able to take down Belal Muhammad like it's no big deal. So I think he's going to want to stick to the striking anyway. But if it does go to the mat, Burns has some of the highest level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the UFC. However, we just talked about Kron Gracie a little bit ago, so I don't know. I think technically Burns beat him in a pure grappling match. Is that correct? Somebody let me know if that's correct in the comments. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere. But he's also quite a bit bigger than him, so there's that. But either way, skill for skill, one of the best pure Jiu-Jitsu players in the entire UFC. Massive toolbox, near perfect defensively. He's not getting submitted. Let's put it that way. He's not getting submitted. He can reverse position or work to get back to his feet against just about anybody. Typically, he's going to work back to his feet against a guy like Muhammad because I don't think he's going to be able to reverse position on him, at least from what I can tell. And he's got control from anywhere. Whether he's on top, on the bottom, he can control his opponent and work to what he needs to work for. When he's advancing position in his own right, he can do so either by using his physical skills that he has very much control over there. He's a very strong, muscular fella. But he also has the skill to advance position, cut through a guy's guard, work his way up, whatever, slide right on over into mount. He's got those skills. He's developed wrestling along the way as well. He's got decent double legs, decent single legs, things like that. I don't think it's going to work against Belal, though, so I didn't bother writing out anything else there because Belal's got fantastic takedown defense. On the Belal Muhammad side, he's the better wrestler here. The pressure, the takedowns, the control. When he gets on top, dude is heavy. He is a wet blanket, and he's not just a wet blanket. He's a wet blanket that you soaked in like tar or something because he's smothering you. He's very safe on top as well. He's going to be very tough to submit from the back for Burns. So I don't think that Belal is going to get submitted while he's on top of Gilbert Burns. Let's call it a hot take, if you will. The boxing is there. He's getting there. He's got good volume, but not a ton of power. Even in the finish of Sean Brady, he wasn't able to put him down. He just hit him with so much volume that Brady didn't know what the heck to do. And he just kind of said, whoa, I'm just going to kind of back up and not know how to react to this until the ref stepped in and stopped the fight. Fair enough. The thing, though, that wins him fights is his insane cardio and his control over the pace. He can pick it up or bring it back down whenever he needs to and control that pace. This is such a hard fight to pick. This is, in my notes, I have like little check, I can't show you actually because then you'll see them in a minute. I have little check marks next to the fighters' names that I picked. This is the only fight on my entire thing of notes where I don't have a check mark. I don't have a check mark. Why? Because I still haven't made my pick. So I'm going to make it right now. And what do I see happening? I think the first round's going to be close. Feeling out process. It's going to be a questionable round. Burns is going to look pretty good. Rounds 2, maybe 3. Muhammad wins round 4 and 5. It's going to come down to the first round, and I think it's going to be a decision. I do kind of like the over in this. The over 1.5 should definitely happen. I mean, unless Belal Muhammad gets knocked out early, I don't think so. I think he's tough enough to do that. I think he's going to be smart enough to mix in what he needs to mix in to make it so it doesn't happen. I do kind of like the over. I think it goes to decision. I'll take Burns. I think he's going to get it done. Not much. I might change my pick. I don't know yet, but so far I'm leaning Burns. Something new that I might do is just put a short video out right before the fights, like, Friday night or Saturday morning or something like that. Right before the fights, just give me my final slate of picks. Because last week, it wouldn't have saved me much, but I was going to switch to Waters in the last bit because his only loss was to Gabriel Bonfim. And, he looked pretty good, whatever, and Quinlan's not that great, as we found out. I still would have probably lost the bet because I would have picked him by knockout. But either way, I was going to switch that pick, but I didn't. It wouldn't have saved me much, like I said. So I'm not making excuses like, oh, yeah, I got like this many instead. I got 5 and 6 instead of 4 and 7. Whatever. It still sucks. It was still a crap record. But I might do that this time. I might give you a little short video right there at the end for any last little bit of picks so I can make up my mind on that for final sake. But if I do, and maybe I switch, maybe I don't. But right now, Gilbert Burns. Sorry you had to hear me ramble. Let's go to the main event because that's another wild fight. I hope you bought plenty of root beers because we're about to polish off whatever we got left with this one because this main event is one I'm just going to sit back and watch. And I'm going to break it down because that's what I do, and I'm going to make a pick. And I do have a pick that I do like, but there are some unknowns in this matchup. And let's cover them. We've got Henry Cejudo coming back after 3 years off. He's taking on Aljamain Sterling. Not often do you get to see 5-0 in both guys' last 5 fights. Both with very impressive records, very impressive resumes. 22-3 for Aljamain, 16-2 for Cejudo. This matchup is actually very, very high-level matchup. The fact that this is the main event is super exciting to me because I know a lot of people kind of overlook the bantamweights as main event material, but this is a great main event. So let me break this down from a size perspective here. Aljamain Sterling is way bigger than Henry Cejudo. 5'7" with a 71-inch reach as opposed to 5'4" with a 67.5-inch reach. Now, 67.5 inches, that's like 5'7.5" wingspan. Is that correct? I think that's correct. Yeah, 5'7.5" wingspan. Dude's got long arms, but Aljamain Sterling is a freak of nature here because somehow he makes bantamweight, and he is huge. So he's going to be the stronger fighter, more likely than not. Aljamain Sterling is going to be stronger. I don't think that's crazy to say, so I'm going to point that out now. For Aljamain, he's the champion. I'm going to start with the champion here. I know you're not supposed to, but I'm going to start with the champion. Very high-level wrestling. He is excellent at control, especially once he can get on somebody's back. We all know that. He's the human backpack, yada, yada. But he's a good back taker in the first place. And once he gets there, you're in trouble because he can get there from a scramble, or he can get there by advancing his position, but his scrambles are very good as well. Now, when it comes to the striking, this is something he had to develop. In fact, both guys had to develop their striking whilst in the UFC because neither of them really had that early on in their careers. So for Aljamain, he had just kind of the fact that he was just longer than most of the people he fights. So good for him, I guess. But he had to learn how to use that and not just get wrecked when the guy came crashing forward, slinging bombs at him. So got good range. He has a very long jab, obviously with a 71-inch reach. Well, I guess I'm only an inch taller than him, but my reach is not that long. So, good on him. 71-inch reach. Dude's got a long jab, and that jab, with the size of Sterling, how much stronger he is than a lot of his opponents, it's got some zip to it. He's also got good movement on the feet. He can move laterally around guys and just kind of make you work to kind of chase him on the feet, and then he can start looking for his takedowns or whatever. And he's got a sneaky good head kick. He's sometimes off balance when he throws it, but when it lands, you don't want that. It's good. He's kicking a shorter guy, 5'4", so there you go. On the Henry Cejudo side, though, the dude's a top-tier wrestler. He won a freaking gold medal. There's not anything higher. He's got a gold medal in the Olympics. The dude's fantastic, okay? And I believe he was one of the youngest people to ever win it. A gold medal, anyway. Definitely from the U.S., he was the youngest, but either way, fantastic wrestler, okay? He's got excellent takedown defense. I think the only person that's ever taken him down was Demetrius Johnson, and that dude's fantastic as well. He's still doing the darn thing over 1 championships, but so only person to ever take him down, Demetrius Johnson. Close fight with him twice, I guess. He has great takedowns of his own. In fact, his single leg is excellent. His single leg, I would say, is probably his best takedown, but he's got others in the arsenal. Obviously, he's got a ton of them, but that single leg is absolute money. So if you can get a hold of your leg, you're in trouble. And guys like Sterling throwing up them kicks, you better hope he doesn't catch it. But I think if he's throwing a kick, I don't think Cejudo's catching it. But either way, great scrambles on the Cejudo side. Ground and pound once he gets on top, it's heavy. You can see him put guys away just by throwing them bombs on him because he just hit pretty hard for a smaller dude. Good striking on the feet. He's developed this along the way. It's realistically just the footwork and range control that gives him the advantage over a lot of guys because he's going to be shorter than most of his opponents. But he's able to kind of move in and out and land his shots when he gets in there. He's got good power on the shots. The volume is obviously there. I like his leg kicks a lot. But that high motor, that helps because he can just keep doing it over and over and over, and he can mix in the takedowns when he needs to. And you know what? I think his takedown defense alone is going to make this really tough because as good of a wrestler as Aljamain Sterling is, he is a fantastic wrestler. I'm not taking anything away from his wrestling ability by saying that an Olympic gold medalist might be just a little bit better of a wrestler than him. So I don't think he's going to be able to get takedowns on Henry Cejudo. So I think it's going to be stuck in the striking, and I think that favors Cejudo because this dude has a genius-level fight IQ. This guy is fantastic when he's in the cage thinking about what he needs to do. He learns from the experience in the matchup. In between rounds, he can adjust his game plan. I think Cejudo should be able to get the win here. However, if Sterling does get the takedown, as quickly as you can, go live bet Sterling, because he's going to be able to get on the back of Cejudo. And if he shows that he can get the takedown, not off of like a fluke takedown, if he can land a takedown on Cejudo clean, there's big trouble for Cejudo. And Sterling's going to be able to get on his back and just ride out minutes, start fishing for submissions, whether he gets them or not, riding him out. If he gets it early in the fight and he's able to get on the back of Cejudo, grind out an entire round there, Sterling's going to be doing something big here, and he's probably going to get the win. But for me, the pick is Cejudo. The long layoff has me just not able to bet him. I can't bet him after that 3-year layoff, just not knowing. We saw fat Cejudo for quite a while. Now, do I think he's just as sharp mentally? Yeah, I think he's fine there. Do I think he's just as sharp physically? That's the question. But I'm going to pick Cejudo. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys checking this video out. Thank you so much. And if you haven't done so already, fist bump that like button for me. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you very soon.